I'm looking for a box with my name on it.
I haven't seen one here yet.
Oh, this is a lovely tree.
There are several lovely trees, and you might still find a box with your name on it.
We'll have to look around later. We're here for the December Beloit Today show at the historic Hanchett Bartlett home.
And it's absolutely beautifully decorated for the holidays.
It is. There's a series of trees from different eras. It's just lovely.
And let's introduce ourselves.
Okay, sorry. I'm Steve Gregg.
And I'm Pam Lathrop.
And as I said, this is the December edition of Beloit Today. Along with holiday things and decorations, we've got some other interesting things, don't we?
We're going to be talking about some of the seasonal issues that we're facing in the city in December. Starts snow plowing, and I'm going to be with Bill Johnson. And you're going to be with Jason?
Yes, because although it's not directly related to winter, one of the things this year is we're opening up some road projects, and they have some new things on them called roundabouts.
Roundabouts, they make me crazy.
And I'm sure there's some way we could turn roundabouts into kind of a holiday theme.
Oh, I'm sure we could.
Yeah.
We could maybe have a dance, a roundabout dance.
There you go. And last but not least, we're going to take a few minutes to visit with Martha Mitchell, because this is her last month as director of Visit Beloit, and she's been here a number of years and just done a wonderful job. And we certainly think, closing out the season, the year, and Martha's time is a nice way to end the program this year.
I agree.
So I'm kind of excited to see some of these other trees, but I suppose in the meantime we better get going with our other topics, huh?
Okay, then let's join Jason Dupuy and Steve Gregg on the roof of City Hall.
And I'll look for Santa while I'm there. People out there might remember a joke. I think it was on a piece of paper, and it was a circle, and somebody put it by their desk, and it said, "I get to it when I get around to it," or something. I don't remember the whole joke, but speaking around, getting around to it. One of the things we have new in the city of Beloit this year is roundabouts, and the person who knows the most about the city's roundabouts is Jason Dupuy, the city's traffic engineer. Jason, thanks for taking a few minutes here on the roof of City Hall.
Thank you, Steve.
We're here because as part of the whole Mill Street reconstruction City Hall parking lot project, there's a roundabout in the parking lot, and there's some others being built in the city of Beloit too. This is kind of a new thing in the traffic engineering world?
It's a new thing in the United States, a relatively new thing. They've been around in Europe for quite some time, 40, 50 years over in Europe. Really in the last 15 years or so, they've become kind of popular in the United States. I think we have about 1,000 or so throughout the United States, about 100 here in the state of Wisconsin. This year we are finishing our first one down here at City Hall, which is completed, and I believe we have 3 more that will be completed next spring.
And now this is something not just in the city of Beloit. The state transportation department is encouraging this in projects, correct?
Correct. Anytime that you will, or the municipalities will be reconstructing streets, anytime that there's a possibility of traffic signals or conflicts, you need to evaluate whether a roundabout is the best idea. From the state DOT perspective, the roundabout is the preferred method.
And that's because compared to a 4-way signalized intersection, the studies have shown they're safer.
Correct. Roundabouts reduce the number of crashes and, more importantly, the severity of crashes. The roundabouts, when you have an accident, you'll have merging type accidents. I'll call them fender benders. That's what most people characterize them as. Whereas at a signalized intersection, you'll have the left turn, the right turn, and T-bone type crashes, more fatalities and more severity of crashes.
Now, I know we have some information on our website about how to navigate through, but kind of what's the general rule of thumb?
Well, the most important thing when coming to a roundabout is you need to make the decision of where you want to go before you get to the roundabout. You need to pick your lane. Lane choice is very important. Yield as you're entering the roundabout. Stay in your lane throughout the roundabout, and then signalize when you're going to make your right turn out of the roundabout.
All right. Now, as from a construction standpoint, are they, compared to the cost of a signalized intersection, how do they compare?
Most of the time, the cost of a roundabout is similar. The initial cost is similar to the installation of a four-way traffic signal intersection. The cost savings really comes in the long run through a roundabout, as you don't have to pay for the maintenance or the electricity that you would at a traffic signal. So that's where the cost savings comes in for the roundabout.
Great. Well, it is a little nippy out here, so I think I'm going to leave our interview, and you can see on our website again some information, as well as we have some pictures from the State Department of Transportation website. Jason, expect you'll see a few more of these in Beloit in the future?
Yes, I suspect we will. Like I said, we'll have 3 more going out in the Gateway project, and I suspect in the future that, like I said, we'll have to evaluate any time that we reconstruct an intersection that a roundabout will be evaluated, and I suspect that we'll see some more in the future.
Good. Well, I'm glad. It's good to hear the city's engineering department's on the cutting edge. And speaking of the cutting edge, we're going to talk to Bill Johnson about snow plowing, and I think I'm going to ask him a little bit about what it's like to snow plow around a roundabout too. I'm sure he's got some stories on that. So let's go do that and go get warm. Woo!
I'm here today on a chilly day with Billy Johnson, street supervisor. Last time I was standing next to one of these great big trucks, I think we were doing the snowplow rodeo. It was a lot nicer day.
Yes, it was. That was in September, and it was a lot nicer than today, and we didn't have the anti-icing truck out either.
Well, speaking of anti-icing, let's talk about what we're putting on the streets nowadays and how environmentally friendly that is.
Actually, when it's a temperature like this, we're putting brine out in the tank, which is 90% water and 10% salt, so it's a lot better for the environment. As the weather gets colder, we'll have different blends with some geomelt we use and some calcium chloride, and then as it gets warmer towards March and April, we'll go back to the brine and stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about the warm.
Yes, yes.
Now, the brine and the beet juice mixtures are some things that we can do ourselves now at City of Beloit, right?
Yes, we've been doing that for 2 years now, and Brad Truin is the operator, and we go out and pre-spray whenever we can if ahead of a storm. Usually takes us with the big truck here and 2 smaller trucks about a day and a half if everything goes good. Right now we're getting a second bigger truck, 1,000-gallon tank hooked up, so we can do it a little bit quicker.
Now, when you say that you spray the streets, how long before a storm comes do you start spraying the streets?
We look at the weather, and we can do it up to 5 or 6 days ahead, and it'll stay on the road as long as it doesn't rain, and it'll still be effective to keep it from sticking.
What makes you think to put it on the streets? What's the forecast have to be before we see that show up on the streets?
Well, we look for, if there's going to be, the cold temperature is definitely, we look at the bridges, and they would freeze first because there's nothing underneath them, and we would hit them. That way we don't have to bring people in. If it's ice or anything like that, we try to get the whole town, not the whole town, but as much as we can. The mains, the hills and inclines, any place where it'd be slick.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you go out and plow, when we have a snow event, what roads do you choose to plow first?
We always do the mains first, and each set of drivers has their own mains. We would do 51 would be a main, 4th Street, Portland, Milwaukee Road, Prairie, St. Lawrence. Each route has about 5 mains or so, and then after they're all done and clear, then we move into the secondaries. That way, if they know if the roads are bad, once they get to a main, they can get to the hospital or somewhere if they have to.
How many miles of roads do we have to plow?
I think we have about 187, and we're getting more each year.
So how long does that take?
We try to have all the mains done by 5 to 5.5 hours after we start, and then we move into the secondaries, and that can take another 5 or 6 depending on how much we got. And like I said, if it takes us a long time to do the mains, then the more that gets on the secondaries, and then we move into them.
So we just sort of urge the residents to be a little bit patient with our crews, especially if we have several snow events in a row. Also, what can we do as residents of the city to make your job easier? Keep our cars off the streets? What about the parking regulations?
Yeah, keep your cars off the streets. And if you listen to the media and stuff, we send out we're going to have a snow emergency. And if you get your cars up in the driveways, or there's places that are designated you can park, then we can get the streets cleaned and you can get back on the road and where you have to go if you have to get to work or anything like that.
And we generally do get information from the Department of Public Works that we will put on our city's website. We do list the snow emergencies, and we also, I believe, have a map of different parking areas, right?
Yeah, the downtown would be from Sherland to St. Lawrence and Bluff to the river on the west side, and the east side would be from Park to the river, and then Sherland, I think, to Bushnell on the east side. And anytime that there's snow, that the parking would be in effect for the downtown, so we can clean that up.
Okay. Speaking of the river, we're not just standing out here for fun, freezing and getting blown around by the river. Behind us is an area that used to be a dumping area for snow. And why can't we dump in the river anymore?
The DNR doesn't allow that. If you ever look, the snow is nice and clean when it comes down, but at the end of the year, I mean, there's oil, dirt, anything that's swept up off the road or plowed up off the road, I'm sorry. And it's really, it's filthy, and they're not allowed to dump that in the river anymore.
So where do we put all the snow?
Actually, we used to put it down where the old sewer plant was on Sherland Avenue, but that's no longer available. We have a snow dump down where Finnegan's is, and then we have a snow dump behind the old Turtle Creek swimming pool. And we go to Kruger Park and Telfer Park and dump snow there and pile it up.
How high does it get? Do you ever go sledding?
I'm a little too old for that, but I'd like to. As high as our loaders are getting in some of the spots, I mean, it's amazing. We got pictures of it and stuff, and it's hopefully it doesn't get too high, but it has been.
Now, I know that Steve was just up on the roof with Jason, and they were talking about the roundabouts, so you have some new plowing challenges this year.
Yes, we do. We had one out at Cary last year, and Bob Picorni plowed that. It was on his road, and he did a good job. And now I see we're going to have a few more, so we're looking forward to the challenge.
And is this something that you learned during the snowplow rodeo? How do you plow a roundabout?
Yeah, they go in there, and the one out at Cary is different because there's sidewalk and stuff there, but they plow them from the inside out and try to push the snow the best we can. It's just hard sometimes with sidewalks. There's no place to put it.
Well, again, we want to thank the Department of Public Works and the employees for the good job that they do dealing with our streets and the snow events. And I know that sometimes they work 16-hour shifts. So thanks so much to everybody. And hopefully the citizens will help you out this year. If anybody has questions about snow emergencies or where they can park, who should they call?
They can call out to DPW, which is 364-2929. And I just hope that everybody will be patient when we're plowing the streets. We take it out of your driveway. We don't put it in.
Right. Thanks so much, Billy.
Thanks, man.
Well, this is our end of year show, and I don't want to overdo the endings theme too much, but this is kind of a bittersweet ending to the show for the year, isn't it?
Well, yes, we're going to be saying goodbye to Martha Mitchell. This is her swan song.
And one thing that I'm sure that our loyal viewers know, those who've been with us since day one, is that on every show since May of 2005,
Yes,
we've ended with
Martha Mitchell.
Yeah. And she's told us about the things that are going on in Beloit. And now she's going to be retiring, and I don't know what we're going to do for that part of the show.
Well, hopefully the new director will step in and help us out with some of our events that are going on in Beloit.
I'm sure she will. I'm sure we can find somebody that would love to talk about events going on.
Well, and we have, our props. We have our Visit Beloit mugs and shirts. We have Martha's nameplate. We have all the various brochures you can get here. And, I think maybe last evening there was a kind of a retirement party for Martha, and there were a lot of things said, and there's been newspaper stories and things. But Martha, one of the things that maybe hasn't been covered are some of the things that over the years that maybe, I don't know, where there's some little humorous moments or things, you were going to do a tour somewhere and the bus got lost or something?
Oh yes, that does happen from time to time, and we've had our share of humorous moments, but mostly everything ends up working out okay in the end. We've had tours where the bugs were so thick outside that we were planning a walk, do something, a lunch outside, and they're attacked by mosquitoes. We had a travel writer in once that was allergic to mosquitoes, and he's running around trying to stay out of their way. And we've had the hottest day of the year when you've got people here and it's 103, or we were trying to do, remember a couple of years ago with the 4th of July and Riverfest, and all the riverfront was flooded and we didn't know what we were going to do with that. So there's always something exciting, but usually you can find humor in everything, I think.
Well, it was mentioned last night how many times, this job involved you being in Beloit on weekends, evenings. I mean, over the last nearly 10 years, you've probably spent more time here than anywhere else.
This is such a great job because it's so much fun. I mean, not that there's not a lot of work to get to these events, but once you're there, it's, everybody's become my friend. This is my social activity. This is everything I do. And that's why it's so hard to retire, because I look forward to the next Saturday in the park with friends, or the next movie in the park, or the next concert, or Biff, or Winterfest. Everything is fun, even though it's work, so it's hard to give all that up.
Where do you come up with the ideas for all of these events? Do you have like a clearinghouse with all the convention and visitors bureaus in the state?
Yeah, we pretty much steal them from other people. We do. We have a state association, and a lot. You hear a lot. We have a conference, a fall conference, and the governor's conference on tourism, where people showcase what they've done in the past. And sometimes you can take an idea and try to figure out a way to make it fit to this community. But other times, people have just had ideas, like Becky and Ron Neef kind of dreamed up Biff, the film festival, and while it wasn't ours, and we still we're never run it, we've certainly been a big part. We embraced it because we knew it would be a great way to attract people from all over to come to Beloit, and I still think it has fabulous potential, and I hope that continues on.
I had a question I wanted to ask you, which is, I know that when we've traveled, I will go to a new community. I might watch their Access TV channel because it's kind of a government thing. It's what I do, and I look at their city hall or whatever. Now, as a tourism director, if you actually, when you do take a vacation and you go to a community, are there particular things that you do just because of this line of work you're in that maybe sort of the typical visitor doesn't do?
Absolutely. Right away I look to see what kind of visitor guides they have, or what kind of tourist information. And if they have a visitor center, I always try to go there. And just what kind of events are going on, and again, is it something that maybe we would be interested in? I'm particularly interested in art, and we've talked a lot about how Beloit is a perfect arts community with a college and the downtown and all the different things. So I always visit any kind of galleries or studios, and I love to go to communities where they have a lot of arts and entertainment that I can walk around in. And I just got back I was at a wedding in Charleston, South Carolina, and wow, what an amazing place that is. Of course, it's a lot bigger, but there's always a little grain of something that you can take away from another community.
Now, sometimes I've talked to people that have traveled, and they go out away from Beloit, and then they'll come back and they'll say, I've been, and I didn't realize Beloit really does have a lot of stuff going on. What happened to you? You go somewhere, you go to check out the Visitors Bureau, and you come back and you kind of look at what we've got, and you say,
yeah, I'm very proud of what we have here. I think this building is so exceptional, and our visitor center, and of course the college, and all of the things, the riverfront. I always check out riverfronts too, and think how beautiful ours is. So I always feel very proud of Beloit, and I think that's been the hardest part of this job, is to get local people to realize what a gem the city is, and I think you guys know that as well. I see the beauty in it every day. I see the friendliness, and the people here believe in Beloit and want to make it better, but there's always people that are like, oh, Beloit, And that's been the hardest thing. But I also have found from traveling around that other communities are the same. If you grew up there, if you've always lived there, it's like, I can't wait to get out of this community and move on to the next one. So I hope people do feel pride in this community.
I think everybody that travels, that lives in Beloit, that travels outside of Beloit has to be an ambassador for Beloit, and I think you've been a great ambassador.
I do too. On that same trip I was on to Charleston, my husband and I parked downtown, and they have those trolley tours or open air tours, carriage tours, and somebody yells out, I had a Visit Beloit shirt on, somebody goes, Beloit, I'm from Beloit. I thought, here in Charleston, South Carolina, that's pretty good. So I think we all ought to wear our Beloit shirts everywhere we go. And, it's amazing how many people did or went to college here. That's a great, usually the people that went to college here have great memories of Beloit. And I just want to spread that word forever. So I'm not leaving that. I will continue to be an ambassador for Beloit.
Well, I know that you probably have plans when you're no longer in Beloit every weekend and every evening planning events. I know you're going to come back a lot.
I hope so. I hope to continue on in some of the projects that I've been working on, my favorites. And I like to travel. Talking about travel, maybe I'll come back with great new ideas. But we're going to head south for some warm weather for a while this winter. And then I was telling Pam that I hope to go to Italy next fall. And I have a whole bucket list of things, the national parks that I haven't seen, other countries. I mean, I could never, I'm sure I'll run out of money long before I run out of places to go. Working in this industry, you don't make a fortune, but it's a good time. So we really do want to travel, and I do want to see, and I'm going to work on my golf game. I have promised my husband I will continue to work on golf, so I may take that back next year.
I think we're both still working on our golf game.
Yeah, you and me both, Martha. We took those lessons last year. They didn't do me a lot of good.
I've taken them over and over, and nothing does me any good, but my husband says consistency, so I'm going to work on that.
Well, again, a lot of the newspaper articles and things all talked about the things that have happened in Beloit over the last 10 years and that you've been part of. And you've had to name them and list them, but I guess we really appreciate that you always took time to spend 5, 7 minutes, whatever we needed at the end of every one of these shows. I think part of the goal of this program was to, convey information that people could use, but also information about things they could do. And we appreciate, and I'm sure the viewers appreciate that you took that time to do that all the time.
That's what I do best, is just tell people what to do, because, people are amazed. When I travel around and they'll say, what's going on? And you can just read off a whole list. Oh, this weekend we've got this, and this, and, like Holidazzle, and, the concerts and theater, and there's always something to do in Beloit. And if there's not a big event, there's live music somewhere. So we want everybody to know that. And I think that it's such a great place to live, work, and play.
Well, and I don't think you ever had trouble coming up with a long list of events each month for 4 years.
I know. I do this. I do a radio show. I've done, a lot of different things, but there's never a short time.
Even when Pam and I sort of would steal your thunder and talk about something in the show that we knew you were going to talk about.
That's true. But I still maintain Martha always had the best venue. I want to sit in Santa's throne and...
Oh, yeah. Hey, I have had some great venues for this show. We've been in the park. We've been in Santa's throne. You're right. We've been out at the Heritage, at the Historical Society. We've been in this building. Lots of places.
We could probably keep talking, couldn't we? But one of the things that I know was said last night, I think, when the city manager read his proclamation, was that Beloit is very much a better place for Martha's efforts over the last 10 years, and I think that's a very, very true statement.
I agree with that. Her enthusiasm is contagious.
It is. And we thank you, and we look forward to welcoming you back often.
Thank you. We've had wonderful partners in Beloit. I can't say enough. It's really not that I've done anything. It's just that I've been able to at least get people working together, I think, and thinking about what we could do together. And I believe in collaboration and partnership on everything. And so I hope to be back, and I hope to, maybe I could be a guest someday on your show.
Yes. Life after Beloit. We could have a new segment, right?
Yeah, she can talk about Italy.
Yeah.
What do all retired CVB directors do?
So, well, all right. So for 2009... for the holiday season, I guess, Martha, any typically you give a long list of things that are going on in the month of December and January. Maybe any last thing you want to say to folks?
Just get out, get your skis out and enjoy the snow. Get ready for spring. Of course, Holidazzle is tonight, and we've got the symphony concert coming up. We've got the theater another night before Christmas going on at Theater Works, which is going to be a lot of fun, I guess. And just watch the calendar and stop in at our office or visit our website, visit Beloit.com.
All right. Thanks, Martha.
Thanks, Martha, and good luck.
Thank you.
Well,
I'll miss you.
here we are in the kitchen of Hanship Bartlett House, kind of wrapping up the show for the year, and this is a tree decorated in the theme of 1990, which is kind of hard to believe that's nearly 20 years ago.
Oh, let's not talk about that.
But in that time, I mean, look at some of the things we talked about. Roundabouts, anti-icing, liquid brine, snow removal. I mean, technology marches on, doesn't it?
Things we've never thought of in the 1990s.
And all the things that Martha's done over those years that she was here.
Absolutely.
And this is kind of one of my favorite rooms. It's a kitchen. You can picture this stove here heated up with wood, and it would be warm on such a cold day.
Oh, I'm picturing something much warmer than standing out on the roof or standing by the river today.
Well, I do kind of think this kind of gets you in the holiday spirit, and the weather doesn't, maybe the trees will.
They will, and I didn't see any packages with your name, but there might be an ornament here with your name on it.
We'll have to see. I'll settle for an ornament. That would be fine. So anyway, well, I hope you have a good Christmas and a good New Year, and we'll be back in 2010 with the January edition, and well, I'm sure we'll have some pretty interesting things to start the year to talk about with the city of Beloit.
Yes, we will, and we wish everyone a safe and happy holiday season.
Well, for Beloit Today, this has been Steve Gregg.
And Pam Lathrop.
Happy holidays.